And the thing about Sam is Sam has been interviewing for jobs. And the NBA is not the NFL. Just last year, half the league were black coaches. And I'm not talking about of color. NFL does this thing of color, to try to say,
Robert Saleh in there.
You know what I mean? Like
and Ron Rivera.
Yeah, but they people ain't black. They just have color in their skin tone. NBA, half of the league were black coaches, okay? So NBA doesn't have this problem. So if you can't get a job, it ain't because of white privilege and racism, okay? It's something that he's doing wrong and he needs to get better at, okay? So that's my thing on JJ Redick and white privilege. I just think that, we just can't be calling white privilege and racism on every single thing. It's off base here. It's not a thing. So, okay, there's two things I wanted to talk about here with JJ. One, of course, is what you see here on the screen. JJ denies. Today, his camp came out, not JJ specifically or personally, but his camp came out, denied through TMZ, calling a black woman the N-word at Duke. So this lady just sent out just a random tweet, okay, and was saying how it's funny. It's interesting how the tweet went, but it was like, hey, on such and such day at Duke University, I was going through the gym and this white guy called me the N-word, and now he's the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay. What a world. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but that's how the tweet went.
Yeah.
And
another certain asshole called for the death penalty of 5 innocent men who were all black and took out a full-page ad in the newspaper, and he's running for president. Trump. So, yeah, if you haven't caught on to how the world is, lady, now might be the moment.
Now might be the moment. And so, and this tweet, of course, ended up going viral because she put the tweet out the day he became head coach. And so it starts circling, and then I guess so much so to where JJ's team, not even him, but it felt like he needed to deny. Now, she has since came out. She's been declining all podcasts and TV show, like ESPN tried to get her, Fox, and she's been declining those and her statement back was saying how, I didn't mean for this to be such a big thing. And she was like, and I'm paraphrasing again, but basically she says, I know that people can change, and it's highly possible that he can change. I just wanted to something about tell my truth and say what happened, okay, and but I would not be doing any interviews. Now, whether this happened or not, of course, and then JJ, I don't know, you remember he had another snafu a couple years back, but it was a Asian remark that he made or something, and he apologized for it. Yeah. Now, whether it happened or not, some people are saying, JJ has, he's dealing with all of these black players that he's playing, so there's no way he could have said that, or this would have came up. I don't agree with that, because Donald Sterling, we didn't know, like the public, the masses, we didn't know until the tapes came out.
Right.
Now, I don't think that was his first time he ever said something about black people when those tapes came out. I'm pretty sure he always said something about them. And I was watching a podcast just 2 days ago, and DeAndre Jordan, he was on podcast P, and it was asking him about that awful TV show they have out about the Clippers. And about Donald Sterling. And he was like, yeah, we never got any racist vibes from him. We just thought the people that he ran with were kind of weird. They would come in the locker room and ask for pictures when we didn't have, we were just in towels and stuff. Oh, kind of made us feel like objects.
Weird that way.
But again, it was, his people and not him.
Right.
So, I racist people can deal with black people when their check, when income is, around that. Like, if they're making money off of you or because of you, they're fine. Okay, they'll be fine. But they still have those beliefs. Now, do I think JJ probably said that? Again, we don't know. I mean, what context was it in? Did maybe she's not telling the side where she pissed them off or something?
Well,
you know what I mean? I don't know.
The limited, and I don't want to excuse it. If he said this, it's unequivocally bad. There's not a whole lot of avenues in which it's okay to say this. So, having said that, the tweet itself does not reveal any context, and almost without context, it seems weird.
Yeah.
Why would a guy in a gym randomly say that to a woman who's essentially walking through the gym?
Yeah.
Like, there's no interaction, there's no bad blood, there's nothing to provoke this.
At least in the tweet, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did they go on have a bad date that went south and now they're bitter at each other?
Yeah.
Did she take a basketball and kick it into the bleachers when he's doing a workout? Like, I don't know. It just seems incredibly odd with no context that this would come up. So
it really does.
I would appreciate if she would offer an explanation. Again, it's her right to do so or not, but it is one of those things, like, you have to be aware that when you're tweeting about a high-profile person, that it has a chance to go viral, particularly when it's in that lane, something that's controversial, something that will question his character and credibility as a person.
And on top of that, when he's the main top news story.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not
on that same
you
day.
could have said this when he was a Duke player and he was still a very big persona.
Yeah.
You had 15 years of an NBA career to say it.
Very
you had
true.
3 or 4 years of high popularity podcasting, and now as Lakers head coach, it's the moment to say this. So, again, I'm not saying it didn't happen, he didn't say it, but I'm curious. I mean, when I hear that what you described, I have an internal desire for more context. That's what I'm like, okay, what happened? Like, who just randomly does this? It doesn't make sense. But again, like with most white people, have they said it at some time? Have they expressed a racist viewpoint? Most likely, yes. Does your lifelong, whatever behavior consistent with that you're really, that's what you're about? I don't know. I mean, like she alluded to it, it's possible, he could have said something and really kind of just grown from it. It's never been something to come up again. I don't, really don't know.
No, that's true. Eb says she believes him.
Of course
she believes
does.
her. And I was going to say, yeah, surprise us with a
to the
take,
surprise of no one.
to the surprise of absolutely no one. And then we got a guy, Big Task at hand, saying Nick Pride. You see it? Yeah, we talked about the Knicks for sure. Yeah. Knicks doing big things. But yeah, man, JJ. Yeah, like you said, I just wish you would have left more context there so we know and could follow the story a little better there. Now
I'm reminded of a conversation I had with my daughter, and she's like, Dad, one of the problems with white friends is that you're just waiting for them to say something stupid.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. You got to rewind it, man. We talked about the Knicks earlier. You got to rewind it. We did like a 20-minute segment on the Knicks.
Yes.
And we like everything that they did. Oh, we like everything. We love everything that the Knicks did. All right. Now, and are doing, because they got more stuff to do. More moves to make. Now, on the other side of this remark here that may or may not have taken place, when JJ got the job, you got I saw your guy Ellis, right? I saw his post, and a lot of other people are on that as well, talking about the privilege.
See, he's a guy that I would listen to talk about just about anything.
Yeah.
Like whenever he has a take, even if you don't agree with it or all of it, it's so well stated that it makes you think like, oh yeah, let me rethink on that.
Yeah, for sure. He well thought out. Ellis Dean on Facebook. All of his posts are well thought out, and they whatever. Now, when they say that the privilege of because JJ doesn't have any prior coaching experience as far as NBA wise or collegiate, and he's a podcaster, and then you just move into this space of being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. I do not agree with Ellis and his take there, and other people taking that place, and I think that I think black people, I think we need to pick and choose our battles, because if we just call foul and call white privilege and racism on every single thing, it loses its luster. It loses its validity. It loses its pack of punching power. You know what I mean? Like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with JJ becoming the head coach of the Lakers. It's not like he broke the mold. There's been other. I just read a stat since 2012 or something. There's been 6 coaches that have been the head coach in the NBA without any coaching experience. So it's not like he's breaking the mold.
All former players of significance.
Yeah, or maybe not even of significance. Just whatever. They just didn't have any prior coaching experience.
Yeah.
All right, and then you have you broke my momentum, man. They didn't have any.
Wasn't all that strong to begin with.
Well, yeah, but that matters. They didn't have any coaching experience. Okay, and then what do you say to that? And then I'll come back.
I'm not against it. So in the case of JJ, I remember he was on like one of those NBA TV segments late in his career, and he was talking about defensive 3 seconds and how NBA guys do that. And I just remember being struck at the time. His conversation was so clear, it was articulate, it was engaged. I had never thought of him as a guy that would coach.
Yeah.
And I remember after that little segment, I'm like, oh, he's really into the game. I could see him coaching.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the first time that I thought he would be a coach. And his name came up last year, and I wasn't against anybody hiring him at that time. Like, you don't know until you know. And here's a guy who's played, basically dedicated his life to basketball, like anybody who's, at an NBA or coaching level should. But I've always had the belief that he's like kind of well respected by his peers, and that's another thing I think that's important. So I don't have a problem with him getting a head coach. I don't think that the coaching experience is absolutely critical. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Jason Kidd had the same pathway.
Yeah, Jason Kidd, and like I said, and a few others. Now, this is where I was going after that, after the 6 coaches with no coaching experience, is when you look at the other coaches that were in the running for the Lakers head coaching job. First of all, JJ wasn't their first choice. Okay,
right.
So when you talk about white privilege, that's just automatically appointing someone to something when they don't deserve it. Okay, and when it may have been a person of color who did deserve it. JJ wasn't their first choice. Okay, JJ may have been their second or third choice. So so you have that Hurley decline. Okay, a lot of people, when they're talking about white privilege, they're talking about Sam Cassell. Okay, because Sam Cassell was really the only person of color that was in like the final running, if you will, because Borrega was the other coach who interviewed. Okay, and the thing about Sam is maybe he deserves a head coaching job, maybe he doesn't. He's just like Darvin Ham. You expect the Lakers, who just had the same exact, Darvin Ham started out as an assistant coach. Okay, he was an assistant coach for under a couple of different coaches, just like Sam. One of the main coaches that both of them were under the staff for, and Darvin Ham actually went back, is Doc Rivers. Okay, so you want a guy under the Doc Rivers coaching tree. You really don't want Doc Rivers, okay? But you want a guy under his tree.
In regards to JJ played for Doc for a long time.
Yeah, but he didn't coach under him. It's like playing for Bill. Tom Brady played for Bill, but he didn't coach under Bill. What happens to what has Bill Belichick coaches done in the NFL? We know the failures that they've had.
I get
and what have the coaches now are doing for that have been under Doc Rivers? One has gotten fired in a year and a half, and the other one can't interview well. He can't get a job. Okay, so and Darvin Ham is similar to Doc. He's just a worse version. Okay, he's bad with adjustments. Okay, his substitution patterns stinks. He doesn't give younger players a chance to get on the floor. Okay, and he's not an X's and O's guy. He just can talk basketball well. Okay.
And that's debatable. My thing with Darvin Ham is he did not have much of a personality.
That may have been so, but by all players' accounts and things of that nature, his adjustments were bad.
I agree with what you're saying, but I also think it hurts when you don't have a strong personality.
I'm sure.
Or charisma.
And the thing about Sam is Sam has been interviewing for jobs. And the NBA is not the NFL. Just last year, half the league were black coaches. And I'm not talking about of color. NFL does this thing of color, to try to say,
Robert Saleh in there.
You know what I mean? Like
and Ron Rivera.
Yeah, but they people ain't black. They just have color in their skin tone. NBA, half of the league were black coaches, okay? So NBA doesn't have this problem. So if you can't get a job, it ain't because of white privilege and racism, okay? It's something that he's doing wrong and he needs to get better at, okay? So that's my thing on JJ Redick and white privilege. I just think that we just can't be calling white privilege and racism on every single thing. It's off base here. It's just not. It's not a thing.
Yeah. I mean, Jason Kidd's a biracial guy, and he basically had the same path. But here's the thing, and I'm going to restate this. The Lakers' job is a bad job, and if I was JJ's friend, confidant, agent, whatever, I would tell him to pass on this job. I was thrilled that Danny Hurley passed on this job. I don't think it's a good job. But I do think this, with inexperienced coaches, coaching is a craft in and of itself. And I think that you're going to learn and progress. And I think Jason Kidd's a great example of that. Yeah. Like he was at Brooklyn, he was at in Milwaukee and in Dallas. And I think he's more comfortable in his persona as a coach now because he's learned. He's been through a lot of different experiences, worked with a lot of different players as a coach, not just as a great player, which he undoubtedly was. And I think JJ's going to have that same process. And, it'll be some lumps to it. And so it's not going to be pretty all the time. And he's going to learn a lot through this, good or bad. But Sam Cassell, he's almost like the basketball version of Eric Bieniemy.